You can tell from the intro music, this is episode 25 and it's about the man, the king, the legend, Randy Savage. Right, I think I don't know how to start this one because it's not a controversial one and it is more of a tribute show to Macho Man Randy Savage. If you remember back to episode 1, we went around the table, asked who everyone's favourite wrestlers were, and started off with Stockholm, mentioned the Macho Man. Do you want to start it off with you again?
Yeah, Sam. He was just, for me, he was just awesome. He was a big guy. He was a heavyweight, but he flew around like the cruiserweights now, and I just loved him. He'd come out. His music was absolutely brilliant. Whenever you heard that music, you'd go nuts, or I would anyway.
Yeah.
And is still my favourite finishing move ever. No one hits a better elbow than Macho Man. Nobody. And he was just absolutely awesome. And I think for someone who, again, although he was a big guy, he was quite short. And although he was a heavyweight, he was quite short. And for him to just become one of the best wrestlers, he was awesome on the mic. Crazy, but awesome on the mic. His promos had you thinking, what the friggin' hell are you rambling on about?
But not in the same nonsense as the Ultimate Warrior.
No, I was going to say, he got you knew what he was talking about once his promo ended. And yeah, to me, he was fabulous. Even now, you can sit and watch his matches. Just absolutely one of the best.
Yeah. And thoughts initially on Macho Man?
I think, without a shadow, without going around this table and going around most wrestling fans, if you had a question, if the question was, you've got your own promotion, dream list, go. If Savage isn't in the top 3,
you don't know what you're on about.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Savage was the first guy that I can remember that could genuinely make a broomstick look good. I don't know. It was one of those as well. If he'd been wrestling in this era, he'd probably have held the title time and time and time again. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure as the hour's going to go on, we're not going to sit here and totally fawn over him. He had major flaws, which we will go into. I know we will. But for absolute sheer talent, you can't fault the guy. And I mean, how WWE made that DVD, literally only a 3 DVD set. Jesus Christ, what matches did they leave?
The thing is, they've done that purposely, so they can bring the second one out.
And a third,
and a fourth. What I mean? Yeah.
But look at it, there's not many superstars that you could do that with.
Well, Flair's on his
let's say a handful at best.
Flair's on his third, Rock's on his third, Cena's.
I reckon get a few out of Hogan.
Don't forget though as well, when Macho Man was like at his best, there was only one televised show every couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Now even at house shows, it's all filmed, and there's there's 2 shows at least. There's a pay-per-view every month, so he's got loads of matches there which would never have been televised, and yet he's still got some of the
greatest matches ever.
Yeah,
and this is a guy who wrestled in the 1 to 4 pay-per-view a year era.
This is true. Well, he held the title for like 371 days on his first title reign.
Well, I mean, his first 2 title reigns, the IC one he had for 14 months, and the World Heavyweight, the WWF title he had for just over a year.
Right.
So,
what about you, Cookie? Macho Man Randy Savage?
Well, it's with me. I mean, he was a little tiny bit just before I started heavily getting into wrestling, but
fair play.
He was, even though I didn't get into it until just after he was around the time that we're watching now, but he's one of them legends that you can't ever look past, even if you were, even if you did get into it, even if you got into it now, you'd always still look back and remember him. And I mean, the way he entered the ring, his moves, his storylines, his wife, everything, it was all so pristine, and he was just so good at what he did that you can't never forget him. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I watch stuff now, I watch old stuff, and look back to it and think, you know, wrestlers nowadays should be doing that kind of stuff again, because he was just like the way he kind of presented his moves and presented his character was just so spot on.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just. I mean, I wasn't heavily into it back in the day when he was like at his prime, but because I only started getting into it like not long before the Attitude Era kind of came in. But you watch it back now and it's still just as good as you know your earliest memories of it and everything. I just think it's fabulous.
Dickie?
Well, I sort of remember the Flair stuff and with the blurred out heavyweight title. Also remember like when he was sort of fighting Hogan fighting him. The match. I think when I started watching wrestling properly, he was like the king then, so he was like the bad guy. But sorry to apology there on behalf of other guy 2.
There's a guy 3 now.
Other guy 3.
Yeah,
It might be part-time other guy after that.
Yeah, part-time other guy.
After the abuse you gave Cookie last week as well for their phone going off. And then you go and do it.
If we weren't having such a good, serious talk, you'd have been berated for that, to be fair.
All I've got to say is 20 to 1 voting, right?
Anyway,
carry
10
on.
to 1 yesterday.
Quite rich.
Yeah, that stands for nothing. Carry
You
on.
got 0 voting rights on 31 Minute Pipebomb.
Was that the pipe on my missed? You were very brave one. Anyway, right.
Carry
Basically,
on.
the reason Dickie's just took that off topic is because that is the extent of his knowledge of Macho Man Randy Savage.
Not quite. There's one certain area of Macho Man's career that he hasn't mentioned yet, which is
his
huge
mastermind
part.
moment. Go on, Dickie, because this was his defining moment of his 20-year career, wasn't it?
What stood out for you the most for Macho Man?
In 3 letters or less.
The greatest achievement was his brother, who was the manager of the Beverly Brothers.
Nice!
Wow.
That's a shout.
Dickie,
That's a shout, yeah.
So, yeah. That's our next special, the Beverly Brothers.
So let me get this straight.
I'll never forget.
The highlight of Randy Savage's career is that he was under Lanny's shadow for the whole of it.
Yeah, because his brother was the manager of the Beverly Brothers.
Yeah.
I like it.
Okay, what about you?
Extra point if you can remember the Beverly Brothers' names.
I'm thinking of them.
Yeah.
Blake.
Yeah.
There we go!
Shot. Randy Savage for me, I'll never forget WrestleMania. I started the first WrestleMania I watched was WrestleMania 4 on a videotape. Silvervision 1.
Double tape.
Yes.
The Coliseum video went. Oh no,
No, the Silvervision then, mate. Yeah. So that was my first, and that was him winning the title.
Yeah.
It was like I think it was a 14-man tournament, and he fought against 3 people and beat $1 Million Man,
Butch Reed,
One Man Gang, and
Junkyard Dog.
Yeah. No, was it Junkyard Dog? I don't remember.
There was Butch Reed. I think it was JYD. Or was it Greg Valentine?
Greg Valentine sounds familiar.
Do you know what? Someone out there will correct us. Don't
Yeah,
forget.
it was definitely Butch Reed. Natural Butch Reed.
One Man Gang in the semis.
One Man Gang, yeah.
Because DiBiase had a lot of walkovers.
Yeah, DiBiase in the final he beat him.
Yeah.
Butch Reed, Valentine, One Man Gang, and then Ted DiBiase. Yeah, watching him. I remember watching him. Winning the title, which was awesome because this dude with wavy hair and big capes on and spinning his hand from the top rope.
And a different cape and trunks every match.
Every match.
And Liz had a different dress.
Yes.
To match the trunk
and
cape, yeah.
The best, I used to love him when he had his green shorts on and his pink shorts on. They were the 2 favourite for me.
Incidentally, quite aptly, we have got CD1 on right now of the Macho Madness compilation. Yeah. Matt Striker presenting, which I think is a perfect fit. Because Matt Striker is probably number 1 Randy Savage fan of all time.
Yeah.
I'd possibly say number 2.
After you.
Oh, number 3 then. After me, and what's his name from TNT?
Oh, Jay Lethal, Black Machismo. Yeah.
But then again, you can put Punk in there, but that again, we'll come up to that.
Yeah, we'll go through the
further on. Well, that was my first exposure to him, and I loved it. Absolutely loved seeing Macho Man win the title, and I remember watching him fight against Andre the Giant defending the title, and that was awesome as well because it was only really Hogan who'd done him at that point in his WrestleMania 3.
With Macho Man again, due to his size, he could wrestle the smaller guys and not look out of place.
Yeah.
Then he could wrestle the bigger guys and not look out of place.
That's it. His game was, he had a very good all-round game. His finishing move was something, even like his signature moves, we'll say, could work on big and little guys, because it wasn't like he had to pick someone up and get them on his shoulders or anything like that.
I mean, there's something like we're watching here at the moment.
We just watched Hulk Hogan kick out of an elbow.
No, but the thing, but he kicks out weakly.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's at the time, in
And
this
then just
Hogan
close
era,
He just attacked the ref.
Yeah. At this time, the Hogan
Double axe
era,
handle.
Yeah.
Oh no, knee
flying
to the back.
knee to the back, mate, yeah.
But
Now
look
the
how
double
loose
axe
them
handle.
ropes are then. But I mean, back then, you know, you've got to remember Hogan kicked out strong of everyone's finisher, and in this match he kicks out, you know, weakly, you know, which goes to prove. But
I just think the finesse that the Macho Man does his top rope.
Yeah, his top rope
maneuvers.
manoeuvres.
He jumps up to the top rope.
He lands very softly, doesn't he?
He does. But it looks like he's pounding the shit out of whoever he hits.
did anyone else used to love his ring exit? He'd grab the top rope, leap over the ropes, wouldn't land on the apron, fits on the floor and bang the apron on the... There was stuff, it was all...
I used to love his move where he'd have them like leaning over the top rope, he'd run off with the other rope, fling himself over and drag the neck down.
Yes.
Stuff like that. A guy who was fighting for like the world title at the time would never do that.
No, not for the heavyweight title as well, like you said before. For the heavyweight, he flew like a cruiserweight.
No, definitely. But could hang with anybody.
Right,
oh, for sure.
To be fair, the three of us are just gabbing on. So, I mean, we need to get the other two guys, like, jump in. Seriously, I mean...
Did he win the belt for count out?
No, can't win. No, count out.
No, but
this
Savage being Savage.
This is one of the matches because he had the same thing against Tito Santana when he fought for the IC title for the first time. Won the match by count out, but didn't win the belt.
Took 2 or 3 goals for him to actually win the belt.
All he's doing there is just trying it on for size.
Yeah.
It's been put on awfully by Miss Elizabeth.
It has. One button clicked on.
Back,
yeah. Shame.
Bit of an ugly belt, that, to be fair.
It only lasted a year.
It is. Before the wins eagle.
After that old...
It looks more like an Intercontinental belt rather than a world title, you know what I mean? So
definitely.
Yeah, sorry, we're just rambling about
No, to be fair though, I think the feud between Hogan and Savage was awesome because of things like this. Little works like that where he wins by count out but doesn't win the belt, so he's still chasing, so the feud carries on. Genius. Absolute genius.
I think Savage probably helped to make Hogan what he...
Oh yeah, he played his part in making Hulkamania what it was.
Oh, no doubt. And as you mentioned, the WrestleMania 4, Hogan helps him win the belt, doesn't he?
He
and
does.
Become one of my favourite tag teams ever, the Mega Powers. And they only lasted like 5-6 months, something like that. Yeah. If that. It weren't a year because they were feuding.
I thought it was about 8-9 months.
No, I don't even think it was that long. Possibly, again.
Mega Powers explode.
Yeah.
Didn't they team up at the same team at a Survivor Series?
Yeah, they done a Survivor Series.
Wasn't it? Was it the first Survivor Series they did that?
I think so.
Yeah, with against the Key.
Akeem, Big Boss Man.
Coco Beware on their team.
Yeah, they were feuding as the Mega Powers with Akeem and Big Boss Man.
Yeah.
And Savage was obviously Dingo and the belt as well.
Yeah.
And then Hogan decided he wanted Elizabeth as his manager as well as a singles wrestler, and that's where it all started.
Right. Doing another run round the room, we'll start with Cookie. If you've got one you can pin down, a favourite Randy Savage match, can you pin one down, or if not a match of feud?
I particularly like more of an era, not particular matches, but
go with it.
The era with Warrior, that little
awesome
Ultimate Madness.
That was
where he fought Warrior, or where he was a tag team with
when
Warrior.
They were tag teams. I just thought that was genius. Like every single match was just like jaw on the floor, edge of the seat matches. Do you know what I mean? And they were just like one of the best. Like they're the ones that I watch now over and over again. They're probably the ones because I'm a massive Warrior fan as well. So
shows the quality of him to be able to carry the Warrior, considering now he'd be blowing out of his ass after the first 30 seconds because he just ran from the back right to the ring, and that's it. He was done. Yeah, over 30-second matches.
They were really, really good. Like
good dynamic between the two.
You wouldn't put two like because they're fantastic independent wrestlers on their own.
Yeah.
and then you kind of put them together, and but
Warrior was as
Warrior was
excellent character.
He was brilliant character, awesome gimmick, but
as a popularity wise,
you
know what I mean?
There's not one person in this room who didn't like the Warrior when we were kids.
No way.
But then you put them together, and you'd think that would kind of be a little bit like,
too
this
much.
might not work.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. It was phenomenal. I thought it was fab.
Again, I'd probably, even though it's about him, I'd say that's probably down to Macho Man more than anybody.
Yeah.
Because he would have carried Warrior.
Yeah, Warrior couldn't carry that team. It was all about Macho Man. For me, there's two. My favourite match, and I've said this on a few pipe bombs before, is him and Steamboat.
Yes.
At WrestleMania 3.
Yeah.
That match was picture perfect. It was just absolutely fabulous.
Well, as we were talking before, and we mentioned, like you said, they planned this out in his house.
Yeah, they'd gone over the match 10 or 12 times in Savage's house in Florida. And was that the match with the 19
near falls? Yeah.
And for two men to remember,
all those spots.
Yes, it was very choreographed, obviously, if they practiced it that much.
It was technical as well, wasn't it?
There wasn't a single mistake in that match.
No.
Apart from George Animal Steel.
He
was a botch.
To be honest with you, no. George helped make it.
He'd been feuding with Savage anyway,
so just added to the drama.
Yeah, but I just think that match is absolutely perfect. But my favourite time with Macho Man was when he was feuding with Jake. He never had great matches.
Because he had the Undertaker on the side, yeah.
He never had great matches in regards to like them being 5-star. But just the whole thing with the wedding reception and the Cobra popping out the box, and then obviously coming out and getting attacked by Jake and fucking getting eaten by a Cobra.
Yeah.
Alright, obviously the Cobra had been devenomised.
That's it,
we thought that Cobra had been devenomised.
Yeah, just that's it. Not that one picture where he's tied up in the ropes and it's on his arm.
On his arm. You can see that he's bloodied. You can see that he has the snake has got fangs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that was what? That was 89? 91.
Tuesday in
Texas did, 91. So, for that to happen, and for that to be allowed to happen, was
16.
I was
nuts. I was 12.
To be honest with you,
there you go, a 12-year-old watching a snake chew on a man's arm.
To be honest with you, that was one of those moments for me where wrestling actually became real again. It was one of those moments where you thought, that snake's not got... Oh, it has.
Yeah. Hang on, it's biting him.
And then all of a sudden, because Vince helped make it, the commentary helped make it so convincing, and because Piper came down as well as trying to help Savage, and all of a sudden, for the first time since, you have that Father Christmas moment, don't you, with wrestling, when you're a kid and you watch it and then someone goes, it's not real. And you have that moment where Santa's your mum and dad. Sorry, kids, if you listen to this.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. Right, and you have that moment where suddenly you actually know for yourself that wrestling's choreographed, pretend, fake, call it whatever you want.
But that made it a bit
And then all of a sudden, it was like, I go, there's no way, that's a dummy snake. Oh, hang on.
No, it's really
biting. It's not got teeth. Oh, it's got teeth.
Yeah.
That's fake blood. No, that's him. Them teeth are causing that blood. And the way Savage flopped around that ring, all of a sudden, and Vince going, that snake's not been devenomised. And you're like, that going,
sold it, yeah.
Has he really been poisoned by a snake? And it was, that was it. And then
I always thought Earthquake falling on the snake was made out.
That's really got nothing to do
with Randy Savage.
We'll save that for the Jake the Snake one.
My favourite Savage match was against Spider-Man.
I'm
only joking.
Also McGraw or something we was called, wasn't he?
It's weird because I've got my favourite Savage match, and Savage is involved in one of my favourite matches. The Savage Ric Flair would be my favourite Savage match. Ric Flair with all the red hair and going mental, and I love the whole build up to that, the blurred out belt and I'm the real champion and I'm this
and
the storyline,
shagging Elizabeth.
Yeah,
the pictures,
photos.
The pictures will go up on the big screen and right.
Excellent feud. What was your second?
My second match, which
it just involved
him, is the Sting, Luger, Savage against
Hogan,
Hall
and Nash.
Well, it was Hall and Nash and the mystery partner.
Mystery partner.
And Luger was injured, weren't he?
Yeah.
And then, because
So,
wasn't it
Luger
like...
was injured, so it was Sting and Macho Man.
Yeah.
And their third man, because Luger was injured, against... What was it?
No,
Yeah.
Luger was legit injured, so what they did, they got Luger out the match early on.
Yeah.
Kevin Nash was holding Luger in the corner, and Savage or Sting did the splash in the corner, and
Sucked
Luger
him
was
out.
unconscious.
Yeah.
And then obviously, Savage, as he always did, took the match.
So he was involved in the biggest heel turn, in my opinion.
And
I think the moment that changed wrestling forever.
Yeah.
at the time.
He sold a
the leg
real
drop.
heel stable.
And nobody on this planet saw it coming.
Even when Hogan walked down, no one went,
yeah. Even if you say you did, you're a fucking liar.
Yeah.
Because no one saw that coming.
Joe, do you want to do yours? Because I've put on Facebook that we're recording this, and after you've done yours, I've actually got a guest moment.
Excellent.
Oh,
all right.
So,
Well, mine was WrestleMania 3. Well, no, it was WrestleMania 4 when he won the title against $1 Million Man. I thought that was brilliant because that was my first exposure to him. But I'll agree with Dickie. I really, really enjoyed the feud with Flair leading up to the match at WrestleMania 8. I thought that was just
to be
sheer
honest,
class.
I think of 4 as well. No one saw Savage winning the title.
No, especially against the $1 Million Man.
Especially, I think even when Hogan and Andre got the double DQ in their second round match. But whatever. No, because he used the chairs on each other.
They were counted out.
Anyway.
I'm certain they were counted out.
Alright, so
It doesn't matter.
Fight.
No one advanced.
We'll set some cheers.
Got to do with Savage.
Hang on.
Savage
Savage was in the same tournament.
The
Come on,
snake
Dickie.
was the same snake who bit Savage.
It
It
weren't.
wasn't.
Damien was squashed and he was a python.
And every time Earthquake went across the road, just as he were about to sit on the bank, he cut to Sean Mooney looking horrified. Anyway, so go back to... Right, so that's yours.
So
Yeah.
He's unprofessional.
Yeah.
Go on.
Okay,
Here's the
I
guest one.
put on Facebook before about to record our 25th pipe bomb. Right, so Dean Mitchell of British Wrestling Radio said congratulations. Okay,
Thank you.
so I've said what's your favourite Savage moment, and we'll throw it on the show. So Dean, here's your moment as part of the 25th pipe bomb. WrestleMania 7.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
He said the reunion with Elizabeth was corny, but I loved that match, along with the 4 elbows he dropped on the Warrior.
Yeah.
It was more
Dean,
than 4.
that's a shout. That's a shout and a half. Do you know what? You're in a picky little mood tonight, aren't you?
Sorry.
He's got a sore foot.
I have got a sore foot, so yeah.
No, do you
And
know
a
what
sore
it?
tooth.
Do you know what it is?
I mean, it's not sore now.
Anyway, look.
Yeah, that's why Mick's back on the show. His stint in Japan lasted 2 weeks.
Dude, I've already done a show.
Right, anyway,
While you were
Examples.
back on the
guys,
house, I've done a show.
let's.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, now,
Let's
that
go
was
back, Dean.
excellent.
Thank you very much for that. Yeah, we agree. I mean, that is another one. WrestleMania 7 was something else. I mean, right. Let's move on to the first. Well, let's not swing boots around it. We're not the pipe bomb if we don't mention controversy on our specials. So here we go. Savage, of course, had the whole commentary stint and the reinstatement and this, that, and the other. And then out the blue, he turns up on Nitro.
Mm-hmm.
Now, stories have gone along and about and abound for years. And again, the elephants in the room. And the question a lot of people have been asking is, why is Randy Savage persona non grata in WWE now? And a lot of people, and the story is, why? WWE. Why is he not, mentioned, not talked about hardly?
Yeah.
Right? And of course, the rumour is, did he or did he not have sexual relations with the boss's daughter?
At
When
age
she was
40.
underage.
Yeah, if you don't know, apparently he made a phone call to Vince after he left, allegedly being egged on by Hulk Hogan, telling Vince that he had sex with Stephanie when she was 14. Whether that's true or not.
That's another reason why he's not in the Hall of Fame.
Is he not in the Hall of Fame because of his dad and his brother?
No, that's
one
a
of his
more
wishes.
recent thing. Yeah.
One of his wishes was to be inducted with his father
With
and his
Angelo
brother.
and Lanny,
Yeah, all at the same time.
Right. But, I mean, because a lot of people were saying about that, they shouldn't get inducted because of the WWE career, but yeah, I'm not being funny, Antonio Inoki wrestled 2 matches in WWE.
I think it's changed now, though, hasn't it? Because WWE bought out
everything,
and own everything. Now they do take into consideration the whole career.
But that's it.
Oh,
So
no.
yeah, the Poffo family will go in.
Yeah.
At some point.
Yeah.
And I think when the day that happens will be the final throw in relations over this. I mean, with this, the whole Stephanie story, I think it's a lot of conjecture.
Same with anything. There's always 2 sides, isn't there, to every...
The story, I mean, the one that I actually believe more is that a lot of people said at the time, when Randy was on commentary, Vince was actually grooming Savage to be the heir to the Empire at the time.
Oh, okay.
I think Vince knew early on that Shane never really wanted the keys to the kingdom. And Vince... he was going through the trial of his life at the time, wasn't he, with Hogan, and he was, that was all done and out the way. And I think Vince was at the point where he was thinking, do you know what, is this really worth it now? I'd rather take a back seat and have someone be the face of the company. And I think that's what it was, and Savage wasn't ready to retire as an active wrestler, whereas Vince was saying, no, I want you to stop wrestling, I want you to learn the ins and outs of the company.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it was.
Do you think then he used, in some respects, Stephanie as bait for him to take over that role?
Vince?
Yeah.
No.
I only say that considering that Triple H is with her now and married, and he's the heir to the throne.
I'd like to think personally, I mean, we'll go around the room on this one. I'd like to think personally, not even Vince would sink that low. I'd like to think that personally.
Fair enough.
Don't get me wrong, the back of my head is saying, but this is Vince.
Yeah. Business is business.
But I know if this were to take off and we were going to become a national radio show, whoever I wanted to take over from me, I wouldn't offer one of my daughters as bait. See what I mean? I'm putting it in that. I'm putting it in that context. See what I mean? If this became,
I get it. This is just me throwing it out.
No, that's what I mean. So I mean, go ahead, Mick. You know,
I don't know. I can't see it happening. Like Anthony said, you would think as a father. I'm not a father that I'm aware of, but
let's just
as a father, I don't think anyone would offer the daughter. But
I don't mean much offer her as that. I'm just thinking that if he was going to have a man to take over the company from him and trust it all to, he'd want him to be in the family, and that would be a way into the family.
Yeah.
But Savage was married to Liz at the time still. But, you know...
Yeah, Vince is Vince, business is business.
Cookie, what do you reckon?
Oh, I'm just reading something here now on WrestlingInc.com. It's
cheap plug.
Yeah, sorry.
That's cool.
And it's an interview where Hulk Hogan was on a show, and one of the callers had called in and asked the question. Now you've got nothing to lose with not being able to be sacked from the WWE. Blah blah blah.
Were you there?
Will you release the information on the infamous rumor about Randy Savage and Stephanie McMahon? He replies, "What rumor?" Which is, and has nothing else to say on the matter apart from.
In other words, I need that door to be open to me if I need to go back there.
Or in other words, yes, he banged the fuck out of me.
Yeah. Now, if in doubt he was, kissing ass to try and get back into the WWE, and it was a stunt by McMahon, would he have said it or not? Do you know what I mean? So I don't know. It could have been a stunt. It couldn't have been a stunt. Either way, it's.
I personally don't believe he had sex with Stephanie.
How old was Stephanie when she was abducted by Taker?
Oh no, she was in her 20s then.
Yeah, she was in her 20s.
How old was Savage when these things were happening?
Savage is in his mid-30s.
Yeah,
early 40s.
Yeah, definitely in his prime. Yeah. Don't forget, when that started with The Undertaker and stuff, he'd been gone a good 4 or 5 years from WWE when that started happening. Because the Attitude Era started around 97, 98. He left in 93, 94.
He left before the NWO, obviously before the start of the NWO.
Of course, yeah.
He'd been in there about a year before the NWO.
Let's say Tuesday in Texas was 91. He was still on commentary. He did the
I'd
Rumble
say
in
about
92, didn't
Yeah, I
he?
thought
I'd
so.
say about 93.
No, he did 92, did WrestleMania 8, did SummerSlam.
He done
I don't
SummerSlam
think
in
he was gone
94.
that far.
Yeah.
No, wasn't he?
Commentator and departure, 1993 stroke 1994.
His final WWF pay-per-view appearance was in 1994 SummerSlam, where he served as a Master of Ceremonies.
Yeah.
And in October, that's when his contract expired.
So you've
94.
got that 2-year period where Vince is showing him the keys to the kingdom. He's showing him how the magic's made and, you know, how the tricks are done. And then all of a sudden, Randy Savage takes all that information and hands it on a plate to Ted Turner in return. No, I'm not saying as I like that. But, I mean, this is why I've always gone with the theory. Vince has never inducted Savage, didn't want him talked about. Because maybe this is the first guy that actually professionally broke Vince's heart.
Yeah.
Maybe.
You know, this is a guy that Vince trusted with his life.
Second. Hogan probably would have been the first.
No, but
Hogan broke his heart when he testified.
That was it. But the thing was, that wasn't business. That was professional. He thought Hogan was his mate, and Hogan was trying to screw him into a 25 to life jail term. Randy sat, but I don't think he'd have ever trusted Hogan to run the business.
Ah, right, okay.
I think
He broke his heart on a personal level,
Vince
whereas Hogan was professional.
I think Vince knew what Hogan's Hogan's agenda, so to speak. If Hogan had run WWE, that would have been it. He'd have took total creative control, and you'd have never got the belt off Hogan.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people have said Hogan's obsession was breaking Sammartino's WWE title reign. If Hogan had run that company, he would have been champion 8, 9, 10
God,
years.
you wouldn't have got a fucking other champion if Hogan would have been the boss.
Yeah.
But with Savage, Savage had proven time and time again that he could wrestle 5-star matches without the belt.
Yeah. Well, let's look at it then. The tide definitely started to turn as soon as he went over to WCW. The Monday Night Wars had booted off literally when he...
Well, that's it. Yeah, the smart wrestling fans then, don't forget, they were still piping the cheers in for Hogan in WCW back then, because they thought when Hogan had went over, as he come to finish the company off, then all of a sudden Savage turns up on WCW TV, and not as a commentator, as a wrestler, and I think that's when, for me, the WCW fans started went, you know what? I actually think Turner and Bischoff are serious here.
Yeah.
Signing Hogan wasn't a fluke.
No.
But
I think you look at it, Savage, it was on the same sort of thing as Bret Hart. Savage probably didn't want to leave the WWE.
Yeah.
But
Vince didn't want to wrestle anymore.
Vince, I don't even think it was too much about not wanting to wrestle, because I think it was more to do with the money, plain and simple.
Yeah.
You know, you've got like, say you're going to get $500,000 a year.
Well, look,
allegedly.
Well, again, it could have been a factor to his departure, so fair play. I think Mick's hit the nail on the head there. Yeah. Look how many people left just because of the money.
Exactly. You're getting $100,000 a year at that time, or whatever it was. I don't know. And then Ted Turner comes along and goes,
I'll give you
guaranteed, and that's
guaranteed money.
That's not guaranteed. You're $100,000.
No.
And then you go to another company, and you go, I'll guarantee you this much.
He could have been he could have been off his head in drugs.
I was just reading another article about Vince McMahon. It says Vince McMahon hates Randy Savage more than any other former star. Apparently, he has vowed never to do business with the likes of Hulk Hogan, Steve Austin, or Brock Lesnar. Apparently, whenever anyone brings up the idea of bringing Randy Savage back in them days, apparently he wouldn't even listen to the pitch of the idea because of whatever happened.
You know, Randy Savage, personally, if he would have wanted to come back to the WWE, they could have worked it out.
Yes.
The amount of times and the amount of shit Hogan's done to Vince. Hogan tried to get Vince put in fucking jail. Do you know what I mean? And then, not long after, or not too long after, he's back as WWE champion, back as undisputed champion.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, it's not... I don't think...
It's not so unreasonable to think that he'd come back to do business.
Yeah, of course. Vince knows. Vince is about the money, and he knows Macho Man's yours. Yes. He knows you'll sell silly glasses, you'll sell them headbands. Look at fucking Zack Ryder, for example.
Yeah.
Hasn't even got a fucking 1/10 of the talent as Macho Man had.
No.
Right.
But you can tell it's all about the money anyway, because, I mean, apparently, depending on how much he hated him, inverted commas, you know, he still doing all these tributes to him. He's still
He is
getting
now.
all these things
He
going.
is now.
He was alive.
But there was a time where...
No, it's not even when he was... Because he was alive when this DVD came out.
Yeah.
It's a case here that age has thawed Vince.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, which, again, more leads me to believe, as a dad, if I'd have had that voicemail, I would never have forgiven that person. No, do you know what I
Whether
mean?
it was a lie or
Yeah, whether it was a
truthful.
lie or not, because as a dad, if that voicemail happened, that's gospel. No one's going to tell me as a father of 3 daughters otherwise.
And joke or not, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah,
cool
yeah.
either way.
That's
Fair
what I
enough.
mean. So, again, but I mean, that's me putting my dad head on over that. I mean,
I personally think I'm with Anthony in this. If I had a daughter and someone phoned me up and said that, there's no way personally I'd want to ever speak to that man again.
I mean, not
or
to-
see them or do business with them. Because I think if I did see them again, I'd fucking back them.
let's be fair. We've mentioned them before. Right, this guy has made Chris Benoit professionally disappear.
Yes.
If he had slept with Stephanie McMahon, this DVD wouldn't be on. We would be talking about it because we're controversial.
But you wouldn't be getting the tributes on the
No.
shows to
The
him.
release of the main
Yeah,
hitch.
you wouldn't.
I don't think I'd care if he has actually done it. He's still fucking one of the best for me.
Well,
Same with Benoit.
Well, that's it. Let's get
From a personal
that's,
point of
yeah.
view.
That's a very
Again.
small. That's just. That's not even that. That's just a rumor with
Yeah.
nothing other than a rumor going on about it to prove anything. He might not have done any of it whatsoever, and someone's just spread it.
But then again,
Hogan.
Yeah, Hogan. Yeah.
funny how. Right, let's censor a lot of this now. A lot of Randy's more controversial personal moments have happened around Hogan. Another one, Hogan and Savage were on a 17-day, 18-day stretch in WCW. Savage, Liz apparently was at the end of a tether with Randy's jealousy.
Yeah.
Everyone knows Randy was
Very
legitimately
jealous
jealous of her, of anyone even looking cross-eyed at Elizabeth. And now, again, how much of this is truth? How much of this is fiction? How much of this did Terry and Linda Belair make up?
Yeah.
Right. Apparently, while they were on this stretch on the road constantly between Terry, Linda, and Liz, concocted a plan to get her out that marriage, and she disappeared and laid low. And Randy basically tore America apart looking for her.
Yeah.
You know, again, but how much of that is truth? How much of that is rumour? How much of that? I mean, we're talking about Hulk Hogan, who reckons he got knocked back as the bass guitarist in Metallica. You know, so at the end
And
of
the
the day,
Beatles.
how you
Yeah,
know?
and the
But then
Rolling
you look at
Stones.
stuff like this now, and you hear stories like that with Hogan. So how much legitimacy does these Savage stories have? For me personally, I'd like to think Liz turned around and went, "You know what? I've had enough of you.
Yeah.
I can't even go to fucking
Yeah.
Walmart. You know, I can't even look at the guy packing the bags of groceries without you thinking I'm sleeping with him."
Yeah.
But again, you know, so that kind of like blighted part of his WCW era as well. But
Yeah.
did he have the same? Again, let's go around the room. Do we think he had the same impact in WCW as he did in WWF?
50-50 for me.
I would say no,
Yeah.
personally, just because the WCW booking was fucking
Shocking.
all
Yeah.
over the place. You know, they had them hating Hulk Hogan 1 minute, and then next minute he's in the NWO with them, and then the next minute he hates him again. He's in the NWO Wolfpack,
Yeah.
and then he's back in the black and white. And you know, same with a lot of other wrestlers as well. No one knew where they were in WCW at that time.
Yeah.
So for me, it was booking the problem
It was
more
wasted.
than anything else. I mean, he still held a few titles. I think there was 4 titles he had in WCW.
Yeah.
So you know, you can't say his reign was terrible. His time there was terrible.
No, we got more. I think though at WCW, but even though the booking was shocking, you got more of a shot at the big time.
Yeah,
As in around the heavyweight picture than he did at WWF. But I think that's only because in WWF it was pretty set in stone how the top, middle and bottom tier worked.
Yeah.
Whereas, as we said, with WCW it was all over the place.
Mm.
It was just a mishmash and it was
That's
a mess.
it.
Still
And-
good matches though.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
They had
his
the talent.
feud
They had the
with
talent.
DDP went on for like 8-9 months. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? But it was booking one day you'd turn up and you'd be fighting somebody Then the next day you turn up and they'll be tag team partners with no explanation as to why, stuff like that. And I think, WCW putting the belt on fucking David Arquette, and even fucking if Bagwell's Ma was a tag champion, that's the type of shit that the wrestlers had to put up with.
Well done, Vince Russo.
Yeah. But then on the flip side, Vince Russo has ideas like the NWO.
Yeah.
So,
and World War.
Didn't he have all yellow spray paint sprayed up his back at one point?
Randy Savage pretty much at one point every week, God bless him, was either getting NWO or yellow.
See, this is what I'm saying. And then a week later, he's got a fucking NWO black and white top on.
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
Didn't he have a steel chair versus NWO and just went straight for Hogan?
It's nuts. It's just crazy. But he probably had his most successful belt-wise.
title-wise, yeah. That's why I think 50-50.
What do you reckon?
About
the WWE and WCW.
I liked what you said before about them being both. I do like them, even though it was the booking, as we said. The matches were still fantastic, and
there's no question about it. They had the talent there. They really did.
Yeah. No, I just all of his matches are good. I mean, like, even if like the poorly booked, and even if they haven't got much of a backstory, even if they are going from
you'd still get your
one
money's worth.
storyline to another, if you were just watching the match by itself without knowing the back history, it's still a fantastic match.
Yeah,
Macho Man never had a bad match. I don't think.
That's what I mean.
No. But do you know what? You said it before. We put him in the same bracket as Chris Benoit for being blotted out of WWE history. So that only fuels the rumours. But talent-wise, again, I thought Benoit was class.
Oh, yeah.
Savage was class.
From a wrestling point of view, I don't give a fuck what they do when they're not wrestling.
Yeah.
Obviously, Benoit's an exception. You know what I mean? Benoit done fucking unspeakable things to his wife and his kid.
Yeah.
But from a wrestling point of view, that's got nothing to do with it.
No.
Yeah.
So, I personally, Macho Man, time has healed whatever wounds.
Yeah.
Vince McMahon had with Macho Man, time has healed it.
Yeah.
Because we're watching the DVD that's being brought out for him. I don't know, he's one of them wrestlers that he was very controversial.
Have you noticed all the best wrestlers do have controversy?
Of course they do. As Bischoff said, mate, controversy causes cash. What is it? Controversy causes cash. Creates
cash. Yeah.
Macho Man's done very well.
Again, but who knows how much that stems from jealousy and lies and rumours.
Exactly.
So he's got a bit of an unfair deal.
Steph McMahon rumour, that's gone on for what now, 20, 25 years?
Yeah.
So,
well, let's
no one's got any proof either way.
No, we'll go back to more positive stuff. We'll do sort of a run through of. We've already talked about our favourite matches and our first sort of exposure to the Macho Man and stuff. Looking on his career when he went over to WCW, like you say, he was in and out of NWO every week. That didn't help storyline wise, but his popularity kept him on top of his game, kept him on TV and stuff like that. After he was in NWO and he split up, because was he black and red?
Yeah, he done both.
He was Wolfpack. He was in both.
Yeah.
Then after that, he went to Team Madness.
That was just with all his valets, weren't it?
Yeah.
He had about 7 valets or something.
He did. Medusa was one of them, and Miss Madness, which is.
That was just some bimbo, I think.
Yeah, just. Again, something. I think that's
the
90
type of shit you had to put up with.
That's 98 to 2000 when that all kicked off and started about. So that is the decline of WCW, and that's when it just went.
That's it. He's having to come out and wrestle with 3 women standing outside the ring for him.
Yeah,
that's not. Macho Man shouldn't have to do that. Do you know what I mean?
It does take a lot away from.
It's just I don't know. I feel he was one of the big stars who was affected badly by WCW booking. I wouldn't say his time there was a waste of time or a failure, but
it wasn't. But it could have been used so much better.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, another sour note is what happens with a lot of our favourite stars and top wrestlers from WCW when that started to go belly up. He left there in 2000, but then turned up on TNA in 2004, and he was there for a year. Sharp intake of breath on that one. Cool.
They're going to put. He can't go to WWE for
at this
point. You may as well go there than do nothing. You're right, wouldn't you? Right?
At least, it's a paying job, and that's what they've got.
You don't know what his money situation was.
TNA, though, was like the naughty step for wrestlers, though.
That's a
You
good
know what?
shout.
That might be the shout of the night.
That is the shout of the night so far.
Like, oh, you've done something, I'll get to TNA.
Yeah.
Do you know
How dare you break your neck, Kurt?
Get to TNA.
Matt Morgan, go to TNA, learn how to become a wrestler, and we might bring you
and
back.
then, we'll take you back.
Right.
Is he came back?
Possibly.
Anyway, going back to the subject of tonight, there's a lot of talk, though, that Savage was in a bad way when he turned up at TNA. Apparently,
he was
very, very drunk on his debut night.
I'll be honest with you, I actually didn't remember him ever being in TNA.
He was
He turned
very,
up in a cowboy hat, didn't he?
Yeah.
Dressed all in black with a jet black beard. And
very, very old, mate.
I only read about it.
It was a shadow of the champion Macho Man that we knew.
So we'll skip over that.
I'm glad I didn't fucking see it.
We'll skip over that, and then really with Randy came the recluse years, didn't they?
Yeah, 2005, February 18th.
Don't forget his
Savage left
album.
TNA.
Yeah,
That's a highlight.
right. And if you don't know,
Is it wrong to say that?
yeah, if you're not sure, all right. I mean, he was actually in Bolt.
Yeah, he was. He was the...
He was one of the
bad
bad
guys.
guys at the start of Bolt.
Yes.
As in the cartoon?
Yeah, when Bolt's holding the car upside down over the bridge and Penny's going, where are the bad guys? And it's Randy Savage.
Sure.
Yeah, seriously.
Don't forget, he was in Spider-Man, like Dickie mentioned.
Yeah. He was in Spider-Man. But then,
Bones
I mean, don't forget this guy as well. Right, it's something we haven't brought up yet. Here's what he actually brought to WCW. Right? 2 words. Slim Jim. For what was it, 22 years he was the face and voice of Slim Jim. Correct me again, people, if I'm wrong over the amount of time.
Oh, yeah.
He was the voice of Slim Jim. But Slim Jim sponsored a lot of WCW pay-per-views, but on the back of Randy Savage being their face and voice of that company. And unfortunately now, Rey Mysterio and Big Show taking over. Damn.
Do you know what? Okay, well, look, if
Do you know what I'd do? If I was in charge of Slim
at
Jim, I'd still use his voice.
If you used the genetics of Big Show and Rey Mysterio, you may come close to a Randy Savage type clone.
Who would you compare him to now? The one person I would think of when I think of Savage now would have to be Shawn Michaels. I know he's on retired a couple of years.
Punk, yeah, I would say Punk.
Punk's probably the most like him in regards to, you know...
In-ring style, do you mean?
In-ring style, promo style, on-screen temperament, character.
And even particular moves in his move set.
I know he brought
the elbow.
And the tights and that.
Yeah.
I know we've done a big tribute to him since he's
when he died,
We'll cover that shortly.
But I'd say Punk was probably most like him out of the current talent.
Even has little stars on his knickers as well.
The tights, yeah.
But, I mean, that was it. I mean, when we're looking at Savage then, after WCW and after that ill-fated three appearance, 12-month run in TNA or something, Randy Savage did something that a lot of pro wrestlers of his ilk don't do. And that was dropped off the radar.
Yeah, just faded out.
I mean, before we did this, I've done some research, and from about 05 onwards, all pretty much to his death, there's not much there.
No, he's just not seen. He just stopped, retired though, proper retired, not Ric Flair retired.
But he did, that's it. Or Terry Funk retired.
Terry Funk retired 3 times.
He did. He walked. And he walked away from this business. Okay, so the question again, throw around the room. If WWE had come calling, would he have stayed retired?
No.
I would say yes.
It depends on the. No, it was to come back.
You can see you've got to look at the financial side of it. For the fame side of it, I don't think he'd have been that bothered. I think
he'll have reached his peak.
Yeah,
and he'll be happy with
a Nash type return where he just showed up a few times.
I don't think he'd have wrestled.
Yeah.
If Savage had come back, he was coming back for unfinished business.
But what unfinished business though?
The Hall of Fame ring. Finished the deal.
Yeah.
I mean, for Randy Savage, he never walked off into the sunset.
Maybe he didn't need it because he was happy with the legacy he'd left.
Perhaps he could have had a end of a childhood versus Triple H in Hell in a Cell.
Right,
I'm not going to mention it again.
You know what? I'm really sorry. This is right. You see what we do.
I vote to sack this.
Hang on. Right, what we do, like, especially when we try and do these serious specials. Right, we normally hope that like Jen's got like a Liverpool home game to go to
in 3 days,
or she's got Matt's homework to mark, which means Dickie's got to put the baby to bed. Even going out with a mate would have been cool tonight, Jen. Do you know what I mean? Couldn't you have organised a night out tonight? But anyway,
technically Dickie's wife ruined number 25 by letting him come.
Yoko Ono has ruined this special.
I think I've been compared to The Rock and John Lennon. Not bad.
No. John Lennon in a bad way and The Rock in a bad way. All the worst bits.
Alright, let's try and finish this off as solidly as we can. Macho Man died on the 20th of May 2011, driving a car.
Is that really? It's still less than a year. Oh
my
God.
Not even a year. Came unresponsive, lost control, crashed into a tree. Initially, they thought that the collision had killed him, but him and his wife were wearing seatbelts and they only had minor injuries. But on the autopsy, they found out that his heart was enlarged and he had a coronary artery disease. The only drugs in his system were prescription painkillers and a little amount of alcohol, and it wouldn't have been enough to impair him.
So he's had a glass of lager or a glass.
That's it. Only
lunch or something.
That's it.
From the
Glass of wine with his lunch.
It was practically nothing, and he only had a couple of painkillers in his system. Died of an enlarged heart.
2 things when I heard the news. 1, bullshit.
Yeah.
And 2, total anger when the usual knobheads came out with, oh, here we go, another wrestling-related death. I was so glad. If you can be glad that one of your heroes has
dies a normal death.
Well, yeah, no, as horrible as that sounds, I was
really
happy.
Good thing to say.
It was a heart attack.
Yeah.
And not some coke-induced fucking...
What I also like as well is Widow now died a hero. Because apparently she reached over, grabbed the wheel. That thing went through the central embankment across 3 or 4 lanes of oncoming traffic during the rush hour in Sarasota. And not one other person was hurt.
That's a very good thing.
Did she die as well?
No, she survived.
She survived, yeah. Because they were wearing seatbelts and stuff.
But he was dead. He was dead at the wheel, literally, when the crash.
That's fucking nuts, because obviously they've been for lunch or whatever.
They've been out somewhere,
having
driving back.
Sitting off all nicely, and then he fucking has a heart attack half an hour later.
Croaks it.
Do you know what I mean? That's crazy.
I remember... Right, again, let's do this around the room. Where were you when you heard it? And for me, as a wrestling fan, I genuinely believe this is your JFK moment. As a wrestling fan, this is one of your JFK moments. This is your John Lennon moment. This is your Princess Diana moment.
Michael Jackson moment.
Yeah. But yeah, for wrestling fans, that moment when you heard Randy Savage was dead is iconic a moment.
To be fair, there's no problem with you seeing it. You wouldn't have the man's sunglasses tattooed on your legs if you didn't feel that strongly about it. So that's right.
Of my all-time heroes.
Where were you?
Where was I? I was sat right where you guys are sat right now, and Mick texted me and said, "Have you heard the news?" And I went, "What?" And I was expecting it was either something he was going to take the mick out of Everton over something, and he went, "Randy Savage is dead," because I can remember me reply to this day, "Fuck off, don't talk bullshit." And he was like, it's on Fox News. And I literally, can't remember what I was watching, but I put Fox News on, and lo and behold, they were there going, "We've got the report, TMZ," and then you suddenly think, how did TMZ get hold of all this information, get hold of the 911 calls and shit like that? And we were sat there and we were just texting back and forth. And I remember afterwards I said to Mick, I'll chat to you in a bit. And I remember sat there and I cried, openly wept, and I was just like, this is bull.
Fair play.
But so you can fill the other half.
We
of
kind of know.
To
where
be
you
honest,
were,
do you know what? I honestly don't remember where it was. I would have either been in work or in ours.
You must have been to say it was on Fox News.
I would have been, if it was in work, I probably would have been on the internet, mate.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm gonna probably guess I was in work, but I really, I don't remember stuff like that. To be fair,
less than a year ago, and you can't remember.
Oh, mate, I've slept since then. I've slept since then, mate. I don't know. I just remember reading it and thinking, fucking hell. And then at first, no one knew it was a heart attack.
Yeah.
And again, like Anthony said, the rumour mill started on all the wrestling pages and that, all the knobheads going, oh, it'll be steroid abuse over many, many years. And you know what? That possibly...
Yeah, that might have been a contributing factor.
But he died of a heart attack. That's it.
Plain and simple.
You know what I mean? There was no drugs found in his system, no steroids found in his system. He was an old man.
Yeah.
You know,
There's a big sigh of relief, I reckon, in Vince and Bischoff's.
Yes, there probably was.
To be honest with you, screw that. I think it was a big sigh of relief for us as fans.
Yeah. And the industry.
Yeah.
That's it. Before Savage, who was the last wrestler just to die of a normal...
Natural causes.
In their 80s, guys who were in their 80s and 90s.
That's what I mean.
Classy
guys who were 50,
Gorilla
60.
Yeah.
People like them.
Guys who were 50, 60 who technically should still be alive. Who was the last one to die of a natural thing?
A natural death, there ain't
Well,
many,
that's
is
it,
there?
yeah.
That's what I mean. You can't think of one.
Can you two remember where you were? Or?
Yeah, Mick texted me, and I was in my kitchen in my house.
See, you were the source for everyone's.
Yeah, I heard off you on Twitter. I was locked away in my room for about 5 days straight tattooing. I actually heard late.
Yeah.
And then on like the little in-between tattoo sessions, I was out on my phone, and I remember going on Twitter and seeing what you wrote on Twitter, and was like...
And then I went on 411 Mania to try and find out a bit more.
I was in work and read it on Facebook, and I immediately put that picture on of Macho Man going up the stairs onto the clouds and put that on Facebook straight away.
Well, when it just before the end of the world shit as well.
Yeah.
There's not going to be a rapture on my watch.
Yeah, that was it. No, I remember. I mean, I was absolutely gutted. Everyone knows how much I love Macho Man as a wrestler.
Yeah.
And I was absolutely distraught. But you know, on the flip side, it's made me watch a lot more of his matches now.
Yeah, like we say though, it was. I don't know what the right term to use is. It was a relief to know he died a normal death.
Yeah.
Especially with him being one of your heroes, but it was a shame for him to die.
Of course.
I mean, we all know Jay Lethal did the thingy.
Yeah, Black Machismo. That was an awesome tribute.
Apparently he loved that as well, didn't he?
Yeah.
Loved Black Machismo.
Yeah.
I'm going to find something now here that Jay Lethal... I've got it still in my notes from when Savage died. If I start choking up when I read it, I'm not apologising.
I think as well, like we said before, even CM Punk has started doing the little tribute to him.
It's the elbow and stuff.
Dropping the elbow, the stars on his tights, mentioning him in interviews.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I mean, think how many times you see wrestlers doing a parody of him. As soon as you say Macho Man, it's the fingers and the ooh yeah. So it's
the little circle.
Yeah.
Somebody said
that for me. Was you know Duff Man from The Simpsons?
Yeah.
Was he based on him?
A lot of people say he was.
I would have a guess.
So,
I'd have a guess it's so.
Because
You know,
someone told me that.
Influence for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I heard.
Just let me find this, because I think this might be the perfect way to close this show once I find it.
Think how many wrestlers though that again he's
What did the
inspired,
stars mean?
and I mean it in the likes of Jericho. This was one of the first matches that he watched when he was a kid, and he rehearsed it over and over again with his friends, and he'd always be Steamboat or Macho Man, and they'd just do it over and over again.
Right, we've only got a couple of minutes, haven't we?
We're on 58 minutes.
All right, I think that might be this. What I found now was something Jay Lethal wrote, and it was put on Facebook on Friday the 20th of May, which was that the day he died.
It was the 20th, yeah, the same day.
Alright, I think after this, if we want to say our goodbyes now, because I'm going to read this poem Jay Lethal wrote, and I think that might be the perfect way to close the show.
So,
Okay. You were a tower of power that was too sweet to be sour. You were funky like a monkey every minute of every hour. For you, space was the place and time distortion had to be, and for your fans here on earth wanted the madness for eternity. You met every challenge with fists clenched and face to face. You even fought and defeated dragons and snakes. Flying off the ropes with an elbow drop, there was no way you could ever be stopped. Identifiable by your voice alone, even being dubbed the Macho King while you sat on your throne. We hung on your words with interviews memorable and classic, and knew it was serious when you took off your glasses. I promise not to lose you in the sands of time, for you will always be that all-time hero of mine.